Facebook.
Facebook defriending that led to murder.
Facebook. A common thread in modern society that brings people together to share memories, plans, life updates, and make new connections. But what happens when your experience with Facebook turns dark, and you're ambushed with hundreds of threats and hate messages every time you log in? And what happens when the source of those threats is living just one door away? How does a run-of-the-mill Facebook feud turn into something much, much more sinister? Our story takes place in Mountain City, Tennessee, a small mountain community with a population of just over 2,500. And in 1988, Mountain City's newest resident, Billie Jean Hayworth, was born. Billie grew up in the country and enjoyed a whole host of hobbies like hunting, fishing, camping, and hiking, and she also liked to participate in sports, notably volleyball. In 2006, she finished high school and a few years later began dating a guy 13 years her senior, Billy Payne. Born in North Carolina in 1975, he too lived in Mountain City, where he would eventually meet Billie Jean. Billy adored flea markets, yard sales, and auctions, as did Billie Jean, and was an ardent coin collector and amassed a large collection over the years. In 2011, Billy and Billie welcomed their first child, Tyler, and soon after the birth, they announced their engagement. By 2012, Billy had a decent job doing manual labor. They were building a new family and their lives in Mountain City with a close-knit community of family and friends. From an outsider's point of view, the couple lived an idyllic life. But that idyllic life was soon to be shattered. On the morning of January 31st, 2012, a desperate call was made to the Johnson County Dispatch.
Johnson County 911.
Honey, I need an ambulance bad.
Okay, what's going on?
All I see is blood on his neck. Oh my God.
Blood on his
Oh my
neck?
God. There's no pulse on either one of them. There's babies here. He don't look right. He looks like he's been beat. Oh God.
What's the female's name?
Billie Jean. His name's Billy Payne.
Do you know how long maybe they've been there?
I don't know. They're cold. They're white.
Okay, how's the baby?
Looks like maybe it's been upset, crying for a while, and probably cried till we can't cry no more.
After responding to the scene, police began canvassing the neighborhood, collecting statements from friends and family, trying to piece together what could have possibly led up to this. Roy Charles Stevens, a close family friend, was the first person to find them just before his wife Linda dialed 911.
I walked in and walked through and I looked. What the hell's wrong with this picture? I kept hollering as I was walking through to the bedrooms.
Okay.
And found Billy. That damn boy's like my brother, man.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay.
Will you please tell me the damn truth?
We will, whatever we find out. We got TBI coming.
Those close to the young couple were, understandably, heartbroken. They wanted answers. They wanted justice.
Did they have any enemies, any problems with anybody?
The only person I could think of would be Jenelle Potter. Last summer, Billy and Bill got threatening messages from her.
Anything you ask us,
Just try your best
that's what we do.
to find out who took Tyler's mom and dad, because now he has to grow up without one.
But Mountain City is a small town, and in small towns, rumors travel fast.
What's the word on the street?
Word on the street, I've heard talk to Jenelle Potter and her family. We had got to talking about Jamie and all this stuff that went on with the conflict between him and Billy. And tonight, Jamie, he had a red mark on his right cheek. I don't know if it's a welt or not, but it caught my eye.
Okay.
Billy's family told the investigators that the couples had been having problems online with Jenelle Potter, who lived close by with her family. Jenelle had met Billy through his sister, Tracy, and spent some time with them and their friends. Everyone says she fell in love with Bill, Tracy later commented, but I don't see it. But who exactly were the Potters? Marvin, aka Buddy, and Barbara Potter gave birth to Jenelle Lee Potter in 1981. When she was young, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and had learning problems, as well as speech and hearing difficulties. Jenelle was coddled by her parents, according to her sister, who felt that they exaggerated her learning and health concerns. Buddy was a former Marine and allegedly told his family that during the Vietnam War, he worked for the CIA as a spy. Buddy and Barbara, together with their daughter Jenelle, moved to Mountain City in 2004. Jenelle was now an adult, but she still lived under her parents' roof and was supervised by them. Examinations at a later date showed that Jenelle had an IQ of just 75, with the mental capacity of a 9-year-old. All things considered, Jenelle didn't have much freedom to socialize and didn't have many friends outside of the computer. Despite having graduated from high school, she was jobless and financially reliant on her parents, who continued to try to filter the outside world to her, even as an adult. In an interview with 2020, Jenelle's estranged sister, Christy, said, "Instead of being herself, my parents tried to make her fit in. They also, in the same breath, would say how different she was, and then she became unable to make friends normally."
Hey.
How you doing? We are. That's good. Double.
We saw that yesterday on the news. I mean, that was a shock.
We heard that there's a problem with you and me.
There was.
Everybody always points fingers at us for something.
No, there ain't nobody pointing their finger.
I mean, I'm sorry it happened, but they have been harassing the living crap out of you.
How do you know?
If you know Tracy Greenwell, sister to Bill, I met her about 5 years ago. And we were friends at the time. Me and her and Bill, we were friends.
Shortly after the Potters moved to Mountain City, Jenelle, now 34, went to the pharmacy to pick up her medication, and one day she met Tracy Greenwell, an employee at the pharmacy. The two struck up a conversation, having seen each other regularly every time Jenelle came in. Eventually, a friendship blossomed between them. Jenelle spent a lot of time at the Greenwell house from then on. They went rock climbing, out for drinks, and in all honesty, just normal things an adult of her age would do. It was clear to Tracy that there was a stark contrast between how Jenelle lived versus how normal functioning adults would. During one of their hangouts, Jenelle met Tracy's brother, Billie Payne. Friends and family speculate that since their initial meeting, Jenelle was infatuated with Billie. Billie, however, stonewalled any romantic interest from Jenelle, and she reverted to watching him from afar. But how long would she be able to only watch, and then how far would she go? Soon enough, Tracy introduced Jenelle to her cousin, Jamie Curd, and the two quickly became an item. However, Jenelle's parents would not have permitted her to have a boyfriend, so the relationship remained a secret. Buddy and Barbara were aware that the two were friends, but assumed that was as far as it went. Jamie got on well with Jenelle's parents, despite keeping his relationship with their daughter a secret from them. Jamie was a self-proclaimed computer wizard, so anytime Buddy or Barbara had a problem with their family computer, Jamie would come over to fix it, at which time Jenelle and Jamie would be able to spend some alone time together. Jamie even gifted Jenelle a covert cell phone so the two could chat without her parents knowing. Jenelle's social life appeared to finally be blossoming. She had a circle of friends and, more recently, a romantic partner. Of course, things were not as rosy as they seemed. Jenelle allegedly began to be persistently tormented on her Facebook page from various anonymous accounts. Posts ranged from her being threatened to being raped to being called, quote, too pretty to live.
Have you posted anything negative on the internet about this?
The only thing I had ever posted was please leave me alone. They were on my account. They hacked in. They hacked in all the time.
Why would they be harassing you? What's the big...
That I wasn't from here, so they were going to be accepted.
Do you know of anybody that would hurt them, want to hurt them?
No, actually, I don't. I feel bad about the situation.
Did Jamie tell?
No.
I understand they had a kind of a falling out when they were getting fights.
They never had like a fist fight, nothing like that. Just you leave me alone. And then Bill would just try to push the wood button.
Jenelle informed her mother, Barbara, about the barrage of threats she was supposedly receiving. Barbara immediately fought for her daughter, posting a status on Facebook begging for Jenelle's tormentors to stop. She also threatened to go to the police if the attacks did not cease.
They're trying to set me up, and I don't like this because I'm very sick.
When Barbara asked Jenelle who she thought would commit something so heinous, she suggested Billie Jean Hayworth because according to Jenelle, Billie Jean was envious of Jenelle's appearance and was worried that her boyfriend Billy would abandon her and their young son for Jenelle. Jenelle told her parents that Billie Jean was harassing her by making hoax phone calls and driving past her house in addition to harassing her online. A major feud erupted. Billie Jean was adamant that she did not write the threats, and Billie Payne stood by her side. Jenelle's boyfriend, Jamie Curd, and her parents obviously believed Jenelle. Tensions between the families were rising quickly. Jenelle reportedly told a few people that she wished, quote, Bill and Billie Jean and that damn baby would die. One night in the Potter's front yard, a rock was discovered with the names Billie Payne and Billie Jean Hayworth written on it. Jenelle's mother, Barbara, called police and requested an investigation. Jenelle's parents were worried as the threats gradually became more and more serious. After the rock incident, everyone on Facebook unfriended each other. And that's where most Facebook feuds end, but this time, it wasn't. Many of Billie Jean and Billie's acquaintances began to receive threatening messages from somebody named Matt Potter, as well as others. As the year progressed, Billie Payne and Billie Jean Hayworth began to receive threatening remarks on their social media accounts, as well as on the topics forum dedicated to Mountain City. Comments from a Matt Potter were visible on the page, which permits anyone to post under any identity. Matt was Jenelle's brother, according to her Facebook page. The catch is, Matt Potter didn't actually exist. Jenelle was posting under the pseudonym to continue the feud. The person known as Matt started posting online calling Billie Jean and Billie drug dealers and that they were HIV positive, as well as other slanderous terms and statements. Matt would also express his desire for Billie Jean and the baby to die, just as Jenelle did only weeks before. He was quick to defend Jenelle whenever somebody said something unpleasant about her. And Matt Potter wasn't Jenelle's only supporter online. There were also accounts for people called Kelly, Dan, and Mike, all dedicated to posting in support and praise for Jenelle, all made and run by Jenelle. Knowing about the existing feud, police investigated the Potter family further. First to be brought in for questioning was Jamie Curd, Jenelle's boyfriend.
You understand why we won't talk to you, right?
Just to find out what
You are one of the few people that we found that Billie's had any problems. Could you explain to me what kind of problems y'all were having?
he got mad, but I mean, me and Bill, like I say, we're cousins, but like brothers.
Did you kill Billie or Billie Jean?
No.
Did you participate or know that they were going to be killed before they were killed?
No.
If you were given an opportunity to take a polygraph examination, you took it, how would you do on it?
Like I say, I mean, hell, he's my brother. Ain't no way I couldn't hurt him.
Jamie sticks to his story. He wasn't involved. But Jamie failed the polygraph test, and in particular, showed deception around knowing the identity of the double killer.
You know what bothered you more than anything? The one you had the biggest problem with was number 7. Do you know for sure who killed those people? After testing you, Jamie, I'm not guessing about that anymore. I know you know who killed those people.
By telling Jamie that he had failed the test, TBI detectives were quickly able to begin wearing him down in hopes of getting the truth about what happened to the young parents.
Questions that bother you the most, and you need to be honest about it. Which ones bother you the most?
Just run that one if I was there, cause
that bothers you? Let me ask you about when you're there. Your heart thing just goes up.
One question if you want to answer me is the CIA here?
CIA?
Oh.
No.
Jamie appears to be the weakest link and vital for detectives to use to get the truth. But then Jamie says something which took detectives by surprise. Why would the CIA be involved in a small-town homicide? Well, the fake accounts of Matt, Kelly, Dan, and Mike weren't the only non-existent parties. Whilst the feud was ongoing, a CIA spy named Chris approached Jamie and Barbara Potter, claiming to be a friend of Jenelle's who was keeping track of the harassment she was receiving online. Over time, Jenelle and Barbara developed a close bond with Chris through hundreds of email exchanges, with Barbara even going so far as to call Chris her son. Chris informed Barbara that he was seeking to reinstate Buddy Potter as a CIA agent. Remember how Buddy worked for the CIA after Vietnam? All lies, but something someone in his close circle would know. Chris, the mysterious CIA operative who communicated only through emails and provided no reason to be believed as legitimate by the family, further claimed that the CIA told him to reinstate Buddy Potter and that his official CIA documents and identification would arrive soon. The CIA required him to move quickly, Chris said. Buddy Potter was ordered by his CIA handler, Chris, to assassinate Billie Jean Hayworth and Billy Payne, and when Jamie Curd was taken in for questioning, he hoped the CIA would be present to take over the investigation and assure local authorities that they had acted under the government's orders.
You know, Jamie, I think you got into a bunch of stuff that you had no control over.
I know there's been an ongoing feud between you and your cousin. Jenelle put stuff on Facebook about Billie Jean and well, here's what Bill got mad at you about because you went and get some blood.
Hey, it was more him having against me.
Well, either way, it don't matter, you know. But country mountain people bleed blood thicker than anything in the world. He couldn't forgive you for that. He just knew his best cousin, the boy he grew up with, thought of as his brother, went against blood. I don't believe you're a bad guy, but I think you've been convinced or talked into doing something you didn't want to do. Nobody believes you acted alone in this, okay? Nobody does. But we got to talk about Jamie Curd right now, okay? Now, I got a pretty good idea who got it, but he was already dead at that point.
Detectives need to switch tactics. Jamie has been denying any involvement in the crime up until this point. He has been presented with evidence such as the polygraph test and also given an out, but he still isn't taking the bait. At this point, the detectives begin to humanize the victims to their believed perpetrator, reiterating that Billie was murdered whilst holding her baby in order to try and elicit some kind of emotional response out of Jamie.
Here's what I think. I think they talked you into doing something and then you were there and it happened. And I think Buddy had a good tonight. If you don't do something, I'm going to leave you laying here with these two. Were you the only person there when they were killed?
I wasn't there. Everybody's been pointing fingers at me.
It takes a cold-blooded, hateful person to shoot a woman holding a baby. It does. It does. I don't think you're that type of person.
This is called maximizing and minimizing, a technique used sort of like a whiplash would feel in a car crash. The detectives are switching between being kind, saying he wasn't the one at fault, to calling him a cold-blooded person, and at this point, back to saying they didn't believe it was him, getting up close to the suspect and even touching him. Pay close attention to the detective's hand in the next part.
I think you got caught up in something bad, something that you couldn't control. Was it because that you love and care for Jenelle that much? You trying to protect her, trying to keep Billie and Billie Jean away from her? It's eating you up. All you have to do is say who else was involved. Was the other people there? Or was it just you by yourself?
When the detectives are attempting to lead Jamie into telling them his accomplices for the crime, his hand is firmly on his shoulder. When the detective asks if it was just him by himself, he quickly moves his hand away. These unspoken signals are to try and show Jamie that by confessing who was with him during the murders, that's okay, and he has people around him to support him, going back to the he just got caught up in something narrative that the detectives are pushing to try and get a confession.
I didn't do it.
Who did it? Who shot him?
You know who it is, Jamie.
Who had the gun?
He did.
He who?
Finally, Jamie breaks. He knows the police have too much evidence against him, and after all the small threats of him going down alone for this crime, he's ready to tell the truth. The police are quick to push Jamie for more information. They have Buddy's name from him on tape, more than enough to go and arrest Buddy, but Jenelle? They still needed more.
Was Jenelle there?
No.
You still trying to protect her?
She wasn't around.
Let's talk about it now. What did you hear?
Just the shots
Did you hear Billie Jean when he was in there?
She came out and she screamed and went down the hall.
When did you hear a gunshot? Was it before she came running out or after? Did you tell she had the baby in her arms?
It looked like.
Where were you standing when they got you?
In a doorway.
Sliding door?
Yeah.
The detectives push further for the whole story as Jamie's lies crumble around him. Information is now flowing freely from Jamie. Having enough evidence against Jamie now, they're ready to go after their second target, Buddy.
Did he give you the knife?
Yeah, he handed it to me.
How did you cut his throat?
Slid across. I gave her the knife and everything I gave back to him.
The gloves, knife?
After several hours of denying what had happened, he told the truth, and in exchange for turning into a witness against Buddy, Jamie would receive a reduced sentence. He agrees to make a phone call to Buddy, where, unbeknownst to Buddy, the police were on the other end of the call, listening to and recording every single bit.
We need to get Buddy. You won't help us, okay? You can help. You call him up, will you talk about it?
Yeah.
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
Well, they're pointing fingers.
Pointing fingers?
Yeah, they're pointing fingers at me, and
Oh, Jiminy Christmas.
you got rid of everything from Bill, didn't you?
Uh-huh.
Okay. That makes me feel up there.
Yeah.
With enough evidence in hand, now was the time to bring in Buddy Potter. As expected, Buddy does not know that the police heard everything on the call that Jamie made or what evidence that they have against him. The detectives hope that in doing this, that they can cause Buddy to spiral quickly into an admission of guilt.
Here's the thing. Mike and I, we've been investigating this case. We don't think you killed him. We know you killed him.
I don't know how you could know something like that when I wasn't out of my house.
We have evidence. We have testimony. We have you talking about it.
The police soon reveal their hand. Buddy begins to scramble to try and talk away that phone call and minimize it. Notice how he begins to laugh nervously. Up until this point, he knew that Jamie had been questioned, but he had no idea that he had confessed to his part in the crime.
On tape. Who did you talk to tonight?
I talked to Jamie. He called once.
He said, "Oh, everything's gone." You said, "Yeah."
He asked me if I had...
No, you're not different than what we asked you. My question is, did a mean, cold-hearted, not caring person go over there and cold-bloodedly kill those people? Or were you protecting your family? Or somebody you thought was evil was out to get you? We've got families. We can understand. We want to take care of our families. Okay?
Yeah.
Here, the detectives are using cross-cultural deception detection. This method uses the cultural norm of wanting to keep your family safe as a reasoning that the perpetrator might give as the motive behind the crime. The detective goes as far as bringing up his own family into the narrative, almost saying that he understands what Buddy did, and almost saying that he would do the same. He just needs Buddy to confirm this.
You're going to protect your family, right? You love Barbara still.
Yes, I
you
do.
Would give your life.
That's right, I would.
I never experienced true love until I had a child of my own. And I believe wholeheartedly you were protecting your family.
That's fine. I didn't kill him. I'm not going to say I didn't. I did something that I didn't do.
We're dancing around the issue. Buddy, change my mind. Change my mind.
How can I change your mind?
I dare you to change my mind.
How in the world
The only way you can change my mind is to tell me the truth, buddy.
I have told you the truth. Well,
you're really not, buddy. Hey, start this story over with once upon a time and land far, far away, because the only thing you've told us tonight, this morning, is a fairy tale. And you know it, Mike knows it, I know it, the entire Johnson County Sheriff's Office knows it.
I don't believe that. Yeah.
I can't change. Tired of being nice to you, buddy. Tired of giving you opportunity after opportunity to keep your ass from getting in a bind, to keep Jamie Kirk from throwing you under the bus.
This type of blunt aggressiveness from the detectives is done in hopes of eliciting an emotional response from Buddy. When someone who is innocent is questioned in this manner, they typically answer aggressively, mirroring the emotions of the detectives. In this case, the police know Buddy is guilty, and he falls right into their hands by answering back in a fake, defeated manner, repeating the phrase, "I can't," because he still does not know what other evidence they have against him.
You're not a man. You won't stand up and take your lumps like a man. We've all made mistakes in our lives. Some of them we can try to fix, some of them we can't, but the ones we can't, we can stand up and be a man, take responsibility for it. And you will not do that. It's over. It's over.
You got rid of everything from Billie Jean. Okay.
You got rid of everything from Billy, didn't you?
Uh-huh. You can sit down, that's your voice. But you talking to Jamie there?
That's me. Admit that.
Finally, the detectives have a small admission. They quickly move to gain more information before Buddy realizes the trap he's fallen into or asks for a lawyer.
Well, you know it's over. You know we got it. I just bring it to you. I'm not man.
When somebody comes and wants to kill your family, especially when you hear that somebody's put a $3,000 bounty on her head, on my wife, and me.
Does Jenelle Barber know what you did?
No.
Would you feel better telling them what you did before you tell us? You call her something?
Yeah.
The detectives give Buddy the opportunity to tell his wife about his involvement in the crime for one main reason. They want to listen in to see what sort of reaction Barbara has. Disgust, anger, or did she already know?
What?
Barbara.
Yeah.
Before you find out from somebody else, I want you to know I was involved in it.
I don't understand.
It don't matter no more.
Well,
I didn't want you to be afraid no more.
you're really not yourself right now. You need to think about it more. You're sitting right here.
They say they got proof, so I just want you and Jenelle to know I love you, and I did it to protect you.
I know that stick with not guilty. Do that.
You've already said more.
To stick with not guilty, I still stick to it. Not guilty.
It don't make no difference now.
Does if you see what I said, it was too easy.
Barbara's reaction speaks volumes to the police. She keeps telling Buddy he's not himself and he needs to think. She already knew he had done it, and she wants to ensure that he does not say anything more to incriminate himself and her. Their suspicions about Barbara's involvement seem to be correct. "I still stick to it," Barbara reassures her husband, in so many words that they can still get away with this crime regardless of what he's already said to the police. Once the call ends, Buddy asks for a lawyer, knowing he's already said way too much.
I think I should speak to a lawyer now before I say any more.
That's your prerogative.
Immediately after Buddy was questioned, a search warrant was executed on the Potter's home. Several guns and knives were discovered during the search of the house, but they also discovered photographs of Billie Jean ripped in two. In a shocking display of defiance, Barbara was also caught ripping up sheets of paper in front of the detectives, and she would be charged with the tampering and destruction of evidence for that as well. 3 bags of shredded paperwork in Buddy's truck were also discovered, which contained shredded copies of emails between the Potters and Chris. Chris would state in these emails that Billy and Billie Jean planned to murder Jenelle unless Buddy Potter killed them first. Police established that not only did Buddy Potter and Jamie Curd commit the murders, but that Barbara Potter and Jenelle Potter were definitely involved in the planning of the crime, and that Jenelle was the mastermind. The two of them were later arrested for conspiracy to commit murder. Barbara denied any involvement and rationalized Buddy's confession by claiming he was missing his medication and oxygen, causing him to say things that he didn't mean. What about the CIA's mysterious Chris? Jenelle Potter's IP address indicated that all emails were sent from her computer. Police also took emails from Chris and Jenelle and were able to conclude that due to the writing and grammatical errors in both samples, Chris's emails were written by Jenelle. Chris was Jenelle. Matt Potter was Jenelle. Kelly, Dan, Mike, and all the other aliases were also Jenelle. All of the threats and harassing comments were made by one person, Jenelle. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that Chris was actually based on someone Jenelle knew and had been obsessed with years beforehand. During their inquiry, authorities determined that the persona of Chris was based on a real-life police officer from Delaware named Chris Jaden, who had attended high school with Jenelle, another victim of Jenelle's unrequited advances. Chris would state that he barely remembered her and was grateful that stealing his pictures using images of him she discovered online was as far as she went. Many believe Jenelle, who was socially uncomfortable and introverted, struggled to manage her sentiments of envy towards Billie Jean Hayworth. She desperately wanted to be with Billy Payne, but he didn't seem to think so. She started an extensive system of catfishing and online harassment, but when her attempts to discredit Billie Jean resulted in her losing real-life and Facebook friends, she escalated her deadly plan. Jenelle, with the supposed intelligence of a 9-year-old, was successfully able to manipulate her parents and her boyfriend to kill Billy Payne and Billie Jean Hayworth in order to, quote, keep Jenelle safe. 3 years after the slayings, Jamie Curd received 25 years in prison in exchange for his testimony against the Potters. Jenelle, Barbara, and Buddy Potter were all found guilty of the murders, and each of the Potters received 2 life terms, one for each victim. Jamie Curd and the Potters remain incarcerated to this day, where they will most likely remain for the rest of their lives.